On Monday, May 30th, which was a bank holiday, we went to Chipping Campden in the northern Cotswolds before driving back to the southern Cotswolds to go walking with Amy and Steve Cartwright in Rodborough and Mitchenhampton, and then had tea with Amy's parents at their 300-year-old home.
On Monday morning, we went to Chipping Campden, which is a very picturesque area in the Cotswold, and we took a walking tour just by ourselves of these different old homes and churches in the area.
On which day was that?
Today's Tuesday? Monday.
On Monday, we drove to a restaurant and a hotel called The Bear in Rodborough, and we met up with the Cartwrights, Steve and Amy, and we took a proper walk through the common. I've been saying commons all along, but apparently it's just singular. It's the common. And it was very nice. We saw tremendous vistas. Is that the right use of that word? And cow paths along the sides of steep hills. We walked around an old fort and through. It wasn't old?
It was both old. It was a recreation, and like they built it, but it wasn't really.
Okay. We walked around a newish old fort.
Yeah.
And somebody bought it.
Somebody took it off and they've been fixing it a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
This is Rodborough Fort.
Oh yeah, so I tried to do a little
Yeah, what did you find out about
research.
it?
I think it's like I was talking about earlier. I think it's like a folly, like it's designed to look
Yeah.
medieval, but it's not. It's actually from like the
It's not super.
Like the
30s
30s
or
or
1800s.
Oh,
maybe it's
that'll-
even newer than that.
that'll-
Maybe it's like the
Yeah, it might be.
early 20th century. It is made to look like it.
It could be that old though, because they would have been. I mean, Amy's parents' house is 1700. So.
It's around 300.
Has it been in your family that long, or did
No.
they just move in?
When they bought it, it was derelict. You could see up through the roof.
Yeah.
And then they've added on.
Very accurate.
So there is Everly, which is that way. There's stuff, and then in Gloucester there's stuff called Shire.
So you call it the Shire, even though when it's at the end you say like Shire.
Gloucestershire. Yeah. So when I tell some people they're like, oh, you're going back to the Shire.
Tolkien.
Some of the new roads in the research are.
Sorry for peppering you with all these England questions.
But then they brought us to these interesting footpaths where you had to enter them through special gates, stiles they called them, I guess to keep the cattle from getting out.
They weren't the kind of stiles, though, that I was accustomed to, which are just ladders over a fence. They were slanted vertical stones that you had to kind of squeeze through. You know, they overlapped and you had to kind of squeeze through them. So that was to keep the cattle out.
Toward the beginning of our walk, we could see across the River Severn and see the hills of Wales on the opposite side of the river.
And then later on, right before we found the stiles, we were a little bit lost trying to find the beginning of the public footpath, and we saw an older gentleman coming up his steep garden path towards his back fence and stopped and asked him for directions, and he pointed us in the right direction toward the path down to the village of Box. Uh-oh, he went to sleep on me. Oh, it's over.
Throughout our trip, Adam was the official watch out for the dog poop guy who would grab people and move them out of the way so we would not step in dog poop. Or cow patches, plotches, patties. The bear at Rodborough. Okay, and the first place we went again was the Chipping Campden. All right.
Dan drove down to a steep road.
Oh my God.
And Steve guided Dan through the most narrow passageways that were two-way streets with 30-mile-an-hour speed limits.
And Steve and Amy just were delightfully giggling in the back seat.
I hope it wasn't too scary for the rest of you.
I loved it.
I was terrified.
I wasn't.
Well, there's also a dry stone wall about a foot on the side.
So this is a two-way street.
My friend Hannah used to come and play when I was like, yeah.
White knuckle.
And they also drove us to other little cities. We went to, what was it? Box. We walked to Box. And we drove to Mitchenhampton. Mitchenhampton.
Yeah. We went on Butt Street
Butt Street.
because Amy thought it was funny.
And we. What was the name of that fort we walked around?
Oh, what was the name of that?
All right.
That's right. So I saw some set. Was that meeting?
Yes, thank you.
And Amy's parents we saw Stroud from the walk, and they just live outside Stroud.
Let's see, we could see this. Is it the Severn River?
Severn River, you could see that in the distance. Saw whales in the ocean.
Was that the ocean?
We saw whales.
It was a joke.
Oh, we saw just the cows grazing on the
Lots of cows grazing.
Was it the sea mouse? Yeah. Sorry? You still well?
We ate scones with clotted cream and jam. Very good. We met Tony and Mary.
She calls him Anthony.
What?
Really does.
What's 300-year-old house? Do you know their last name? Smith?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Then we drove back to Cirencester and walked to the big church.
down a private road.
Oops, we drove down a private road.
Rode down a private road by accident.
It's just Rodborough Fort.
Rodborough Fort is the name of the fort. Then we went to dinner at the Fleece, where the waiter came back to us, everything just moments after he He's right there.
No, I was saying.
He's right behind you.
Now when you play that, next time we listen to it, we're all going to...
Okay.
This is a good style, too.
This is a nice style.
Oh, yeah. This is kind of what we were looking for.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
So describe what this is. This is a style.
This is a style.
How do you spell style?
S-T-I-L-E.
And it's a footpath gate, basically.
Yep.
Just stop.
On the way from Mitchenhampton Common down to the village of Box.
Village of Fox. Say something witty. Very good.
That's nice. I don't know what that's from.
That might have been
part of the game.
It looks like it might have been part of the game.
I don't need to go first because I've seen it before. Although I don't think I should.
This is pretty neat.
Do you want us to be out of it, or is...
Smells like flowers.
There are a lot of gardens.
There's some nice holly.
Sorry.
Yeah. That was great.
What else would you say, Steve? Maybe we should ask my parents.
The active wear.
The activewear?
Backpacks.
Yeah. I don't even know English people have that.
Dan mentioned on the walk that he didn't see any sheep, and then around the next bend there were a million of them. And then we saw a bunch of cows
And I saw an alpaca.
and an alpaca.
We don't know that.
We don't believe her.
This is not appropriate literature conversation. There's a detail about the cows.
Yes.
Oh.
No, I did not.
And then on the way to the fleece, we passed the gardener who had quite a crack showing out of his pants. Full moon.
Well, a half moon.
It was like a waxing.
Maybe it was waving.
Guinness.
We don't know.
But it was up.
I think it was waxing.
It was up pretty high in his back. So we're theorizing that he has a very long and extended back.
Did you talk about the scones?
Blue Shield sign.
Scones? We had scones. What about them?
We had scones with clotted cream and preserves. And we even tried some of Mary's gooseberry preserves, which were delicious.
And she cooks them until they
Turn purple because they're green. And I told the story to Amy of picking all of my grandmother's gooseberries before they were ripe.
And you got in trouble?
She wasn't happy.
Amy wasn't happy, or your grandmother?
I don't remember her ever being angry, but she wasn't happy.
Which grandmother was that?
Grandma Foot.
After dinner at the fleece.
Like a sheep.
Like a sheep. Something buzzing.
I know.
We walked through a park.
You didn't.
That was before dinner.
It was before dinner.
You and I went home,
We went home.
and then we went back to find an umbrella, but did not find an umbrella. Julia, Dan, and Adam went back to the park behind the cathedral. Is it a cathedral?
No.
It's a parish church. Behind the parish church, looking for the Norman arch, and they found it. How far off the ground was it standing?
was 2 stories.
Oh, I thought you said you jumped off the yard.
Off the face.
No, he jumped off the front of it.
The face of.
Adam jumped off of it for some photos. How do I know he can hear me? How do I know it can hear me over the music?
Is it registering anything?
Yes, but how do I know it can pick up my voice over the music?
Watch when it should like spike spike more. I think. Well, yeah, like
It wasn't
that.
doing it the whole time I was talking.
So what else happened?
We saw 2 people with their cat, and the cat was not on a leash, and they were outdoors. And they were calling the cat, and it would run after them and rub against their legs like a dog.
What did you tell about finding the keys?
And when we were walking through the park before dinner, I found a cell phone and a set of keys on the ground and tracked down some young boys playing in the park, and it turned out to be theirs. And he was so happy, he said, "Where did you find it, sir?" And I said, "Over there."
And I got hit in the eye with a bird.
That did happen.
Did we talk about seeing the Roman wall yet?
No.
We saw some very small remains of the Roman wall of Corinium, which is now Cirencester, in the middle of the park. And it looked like teenagers hung out there because there were a lot of empty energy drink cans.
Well, that would have been old people.
It was very hard to find the wall. And we wandered.
Indeed.
And we wandered. And there's many ducks. I spotted at least a dozen mallards.
Dippers.
The dippers or dabbers?
Mallards are dippers. No. I'm gonna have to citation needed for that. Put that in brackets. I saw, and then I also heard how the elder ducks call. It sounds like this. Ooh.
And we decided that Adam's dog is going to be named either Norman or Burford.
And then we went to bed.
Which I've got absolutely no regrets about. A lot of the sort of early jobs that we did really now need doing again. So it's a bit like, you know.
Never ends.
Yeah. Am I going the right way, Amy? Yeah. Beautiful. This is the original part. That we built that on. That lot there. Yes, yeah.
And then this was the door.
That was a door there. And we purposely, when we closed the door off, we built it in, we purposely kept the evidence of that opening because it's part of the story of the house.
And this morning,
Met our waiter and
well, we were at dinner. Our waiter was new or scared of us and came back very nervous, Adam says. Came back to
Double check.
came back to double check on our order.
Everybody's order.
Each person's order individually. He would come back and check on one person's order, leave, and then come back many, many times. Then when we were getting our money out to pay, he stood awkwardly on the side of the room and tried not to look like he was watching us, but he was just watching us count the money, which was awkward.
The menu boasted about how they had a beer sommelier and could offer pairings for your food, but he seemed very frightened and unknowledgeable about beer when I asked him for a suggestion to go with my steak.
In fact, when asked what's on tap, he said, "I'll go find out."